Jefferson's first draft of the Declaration had included a call for the end to the slave trade, but this part was taken out of the final version. Jefferson knew it wasn't the time to argue. All of the colonies needed to be united. The southern states would never agree to outlaw slavery. Oh, hey guys, I was just checking out this book here on Thomas Jefferson. Highly recommend it. Hopefully you can see that name there. I wanted to get into this thing I've been working on here for the past week or so, and it's just kind of related to everything that's going on as a result of COVID and some of the draconian actions many of the governors have taken around the nation. So let's get into this and see if we can't sort this out. In 1776, the United States of America was founded on the spirit of individual liberty and self-governance. The idea that we are a nation of laws and that those laws apply equally to all people, regardless of race, sex, or political power, that we possess unalienable God-given rights, or natural rights if you prefer. The Constitution was written to limit the power of government and to protect our individual sovereignty. Well, many in political power never learned that lesson in U.S. history class, or worse still, they know exactly what they're doing when they take a collectivist position. Remember, these people swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. In 2020, or should I say 1984, many have abandoned this fundamental idea in favor of more, almost complete government control and surveillance over every aspect of their lives. Today, police and nanny state control is welcomed with open arms in every major city. Orwellian cameras and tracking devices are defended by the naive with accusatory statements like, "What do you have to hide?" or "What are you afraid of?" I can't even relate to that mindset, no matter how hard I've tried. As the spy grid is increased in the name of safety, liberty's light gradually dims. Some of us with nothing to hide still deserve for nothing to be taken. We shouldn't surrender our liberties en masse due to our spotless conscience or lifestyle. Those are two separate concepts. Liberty is still unalienable, even for the man with skeletons in his closet, as evidenced by the lives of our founding fathers. They were brave, but very human men. When the entire Congress gets together and agrees on anything, you should be suspicious, if not fearful. The D's and the R's got together recently and approved the most invasive spy grid to date. One tentacle is called the 5G Act, and no, I'm not talking conspiracy fluff. I'm talking about expanding tracking capabilities to levels beyond imagination, beyond Orwell's 1984. They're using the COVID-19 for cover, so people are largely unaware of this implementation. Another tentacle is called contact tracing. This absolutely violates the Fourth Amendment. Add in Mitch McConnell's bill that allows the FBI to search everyone's internet history, and you've got a complete spy grid. And I might add, it never gets smaller. It only gets larger and bigger and more invasive along the way. The liberal media and silly dwellers, the liberal media and city dwellers will welcome it, of course, without question. That sounds like a digital prison to me. But thank God I'm a country boy. Most people I know in the rural areas are way more self-sufficient than their urban counterparts. They don't want or need the government ruling over them. Instead, they prefer the animating contest of freedom, and they assume the responsibility that comes with it if they fail. That is what liberty and self-governance is all about. I find it hard to believe that the left wouldn't at least weigh the consequences of this government overreach. How would the left and the mainstream media feel if Trump would have declared martial law during this COVID crisis? I mean, many of them were wanting him to do that. And I don't know if they were trying to trap him or what, but many on the left were trying to push Trump to do a nationwide lockdown. If that happened, I think we'd be hearing what a tyrant he was for declaring martial law, and the left would be calling for a revolution or impeachment. Am I wrong? Am I missing something? Are double standards now accepted in this constitutional republic? Does the left really like the Gates-Fauci plan to vaccinate and ship everyone before they can resume life as usual? Will they stand for liberty if it's forced on the populace? Would it change their decision if Trump was the one forcing them to do it? And hey guys, what about my body, my choice? I've met some Democrats that are against this tyrannical takeover and some Republicans who support it, although the majority of Democrats do appear to support it, and the reverse is true for the majority of Republicans. Some party crossover is there, but it's minimal from my own observations. So that got me thinking a little deeper. Let's go down the rabbit hole. What is driving this great divide? Is it globalist driven? My research says yes. Take a look at the UN Agenda 21 and 2030 Sustainable Development Plan to take over the world and implement a new world order. A one world government where American sovereignty will not exist. Liberty will not exist. The Constitution will not exist, nor the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence. It would be replaced by a UN-controlled communist Chinese style of government on a global level. Globalists at the UN and Gates often cite the Chinese government as the model for the NWO. There is no denying this fact. I had an epiphany while pondering these questions. This is simply collectivism versus individualism when you cut through all of the lies and propaganda. So what exactly is collectivism? Collectivism is the idea that individual's life belongs not to him, but to the group or society of which he is merely a part, that he has no rights, and that he must sacrifice his values and goals for the group's greater good. And how many times have you heard that? It's for the greater good. According to collectivism, the group or society is the basic unit of moral concern, and the individual is of value only if he serves the group. As one advocate of this idea puts it, man has no rights except those which society permits him to enjoy. From the day of his birth until the day of his death, society allows him to enjoy certain so-called rights and deprives him of others. Not because society desires especially to favor or oppress the individual, but because its own preservation, welfare, and happiness are the prime considerations. Now let's define individualism. Individualism is the idea that the individual's life belongs to him and that he has an unalienable right to live it as he sees fit, to act on his own judgment, to keep and use the product of his effort, and to pursue the values of his choosing. It's the idea that the individual is sovereign, an end in himself, and the fundamental unit of moral concern. This is the ideal that the American founders set forth and sought to establish when they drafted the Declaration and the Constitution, and created a country in which the individual's rights to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness were to be recognized and protected. It is crystal clear. The globalist commies and the Democrat socialists prefer collectivism. They say compassionate sounding things like, it's for the greater good of all mankind. They say if you refuse to stay in your home prison cell voluntarily, you must want people to die. They say if you won't wear a mask, you must want people to die. They use fear words to further their agenda on a daily basis. This is what the people who are awake often refer to as fake news. I see it clearly now, much like Neo sees the Matrix. Once you learn to decipher the code words, it's so easy to see the big picture. They are so brazen these days, many of them make no attempt to hide this ideology, even though it will certainly destroy our liberty and eventually our country. Really, this is not compassion at all. It's all part of the great deception. The collectivists are socialists, communists, globalists, NWO sociopaths. They detest everything that is good in our republic, such as Christianity, morality, ruggedness, manliness, nuclear families, the institution of marriage, traditional roles for men and women, private property, the right to self-defense, the right to bear arms. They promote Rockefeller's evil global warming hoax to strip us of our rights through incrementalism. They promote Bill Gates' eugenics programs in Africa and India. They are funded by people like George Soros, the most evil dude in modern times, a wicked man who has paid Antifa and BLM protesters to cause riots and chaos in many of our cities. Anything that erodes our liberty originates from the Marxist collectivist ideology. Marxism and liberty are like oil and water. They don't mix. These philosophies are completely opposed to one another. They cannot coexist. Please heed this warning. Time is short. We are being defeated through incrementalism and propaganda. We must resist against the enemies of freedom. Like our forefathers, we must stand for liberty, or we will surely be enslaved. Collectivism is slavery. Liberty is freedom. We, the people, are the resistance. Long live the Constitution. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hit the thumbs up, share these videos, because people talking about communism in a negative way and talking about the left in a negative way, their videos tend to get suppressed. So it's up to you guys to help spread these around, spread the word. I stand for liberty. I hope you do too. We'll see you next time.